produce?
I had one probably like 3 weeks ago,
Okay.
maybe a month tops, and it was like a 15 percenter. And holy
Right.
cow, you could taste all 15%.
That's aggressive. Speaking of tasting all 15%.
Who cares?
LeVar Ball is going to taste all 15% of whatever income that his sons have made by going to play together professionally in the wonderful country of Lithuania.
Wow. You know what's great about that, though? No state income tax.
In the state of Lithuania?
So smart financial moves from the Balls.
Well, you're the guy that's been saying that he's a genius. So does this...
Yeah, this is a terrible move for the genius.
Oh. So it's a little diversion. It's a diversion.
Yeah, I mean, right now, what I'm doing, it's a false flag for operations that are yet to be uncovered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a bad idea. I either go one of two ways and just start saying that this is fake news and just
that could be good.
Going that way with it, or
it's worked for some people.
Yeah, or really just accept the fact that this guy is losing his mind. It's sad because those kids stink, I think. So Lonzo's not doing much.
We don't even know. We don't even know if they stink. Like that's the thing. It's like, this has got to be like a marketing grab for the whatever team in Lithuania, right? Because I think they were like half going under, and they're like hoping that the big baller brand like gives them a little bit of life.
Yeah, definitely. But I think there's two obvious signs of them stinking.
Okay.
I think the first obvious sign is if he was that good, trust me, he'd like sit out like one game for UCLA.
That's
and they'd have him in the lineup. Okay. And second of all, I think I read that they're not even playing with this Lithuanian team's A squad. They're going to get 20 to 25 minutes with this Lithuanian team's B squad. So,
well, what's the older one's name? Is that LaMelo or is that LiAngelo?
That's Jello.
Okay, so LiAngelo.
Yeah, right. I don't
know. I don't know. I think so. Whoever the older one is legitimately old enough to be a freshman in college.
Right.
The younger one, I think, is like 16.
Yeah, he's a commit to UCLA.
Old enough.
No, he's not. Like LeVar pulled him from it.
Yes, I mean he was a commit. He wasn't.
But he's like 16 years old, so he's going to go over to Lithuania and play against professionals at 16 years old. Like, if anything, that kid has the better shot of ever making it to the NBA because he's going to be playing against professional basketball players for at least another 3 years before he's eligible to play in the NBA. But what a weirdo that he's like, I'm going to pull my son out of high school, number one, and then I'm going to like package him and his brother to go play. It's like, it's legitimately like Joe Jackson-esque.
Yeah,
right.
Kind of. It's like Joe Jackson with like Jermaine Jackson and LaToya Jackson.
Wait, did you guys see Bovado though? The online gambling site. I'm sure Yempo saw it because he's on there like 24/7. But they already have odds on whether or not his kids are going to last past January 31st. So they have the balls be on the Lithuanian team after January 31st, 2018, and there's a money line. It's like yes minus 375, no plus 260.
When does their season start? Like, because they're obviously not playing today because they're sitting courtside at Madison Square Garden.
I guess in a couple weeks. I don't know.
Lonzo's debut at the Garden.
Yeah, he'll shoot like 15%.
I don't know. I just tried to watch some of the game before I popped on, and he wasn't on the floor. So I don't know what's going on.
He's just not that good.
It was the start of the second, so maybe they were just giving him a blow.
The Lakers are terrible.
Whatever.
Who cares?
He blows. So you mentioned it, Brett, that Nikki was going to give you a nice warm glass to shut the hell up. So this is the moment. Take it in, Nick.
Okay. Yeah. So Tom Brady is officially 7-9 in Miami. He looked like he was throwing a hissy fit last night as his defensive line of the Dolphins kept hitting him and pushing him. Like I said, the most Dolphin things to do would be to lose next week in Buffalo after a big win against New England. But you know what? That's our Super Bowl, so I'll enjoy it.
Hey, babe, miss you. Thinking about you. How about me going to a meeting and doing this before I go?
They were really amped up for that game last night.
Woo! They played a good game, man. They did. I was surprised at Jay Cutler. He had one like opening drive that bounced off, I think, Landry's hands. And if a Pat was there, it was going pick six, and they missed it by like a foot or two. And I was like, oh, that was Jay Cutler's pick six, and we just blew it. And and that was it, man. And from there on, he kind of turned on the Jets, and no pun intended, AFC East.
Wow.
And they played a very good game. And I started perpetuating the rumor that Tom Brady sucks in Miami.
It's not a rumor; it's legitimate.
And he's laid some duds, but I'll tell you, looking at the stats, he had two absolute games in Miami. One where he threw for 517 yards I
remember that game,
and 4 TDs. And then I was at a game, I was down in Miami at the 2007 Pats that went 18 and
and we were 1-15 that year. You got to throw that year out. Come on.
But I mean, I'm not throwing it out, but I'm saying he threw for 354 and 6 touchdowns with a perfect quarterback rating that day. So those are 2 monster games in Miami. I mean, he definitely has laid some duds.
You know what it is? They just get so hyped up to play New England that they always give them their best effort, obviously. But then the funny thing is that the following week is always like people talking about, oh, Brady's lost a step, Brady's this, Brady's that.
Yeah,
and he comes back and just whips the next opponent that he plays. Like I think we should learn a lesson from that.
And no team ever beats New England. They either shock or stun.
Right.
And it's like not just like New England never could just lose a game because
they get stunned. They get stunned. Yeah,
right.
they're still professional athletes. I mean, those guys are getting millions of dollars.
Exactly. It's legit the NFL.
I have a theory, though. I have a theory. I think Brady is so buttoned up, like every other week of the year, right? Like he sticks to like the TB12 diet that his dopey model wife, set him up with. I think there's 1 week out of his year that he goes out and parties. And I think it's every week that he plays the Dolphins because he knows that realistically, it doesn't fucking matter if they lose to the Dolphins once a year because they probably beat them the other time and they probably swept the rest of the division and they're probably lined up for the 1 or 2 seed. So I think he goes out there. I think it's like the one time a year maybe he eats
cheat week. It's cheat week.
No. Did you guys see the report about what Belichick does to them down in Miami? So like they have someone said that when opposing teams come to Miami, they stay at this particular hotel that is about maybe like 5-10 minutes from South Beach. But Belichick chooses to put the team in like Hollywood, Florida, which is like the slums, like the kind of the slummier part of Miami, and he puts them on like a hotel next to a strip mall, like residential Miami. Like you have no idea where you are, and like that's the only team that does that.
Do they stay in the Anna Nicole Smith suite at the Hard Rock?
I think it goes even deeper than that. I think Belichick purposely threw this game. Just to remind the Pats, you're not as good as you think you are.
Yeah, it's one of those wake up calls where they're on a winning streak.
Yep, and he just did it on purpose.
There's no perfect time to gain heat.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. Not when the Steelers went out the night before and squeaked out a win.
They're the luckiest team right now in the NFL, and that luck's going to run out. You can't beat every team by 1 point on a last-minute field goal. So I'm looking forward to the Steelers. Give me the Steelers on Sunday. I'm excited.
Here's my issue with you guys, and I know it's nonsense for a Jet fan whose team is totally taking a dump right now to call you out for anything. But I think you're going to struggle in January because I don't think you run the ball all that well. And I think when you ask a 40-year-old quarterback to throw the ball as much as you're going to ask him to throw it, like eventually it's got to fucking catch up. It just has to.
It will catch up, obviously. I mean, that's the law of nature, It'll catch up eventually. But running the ball, the Pats, since Corey Dillon haven't really had a guy that breaks off, 50-yard runs. So they need a guy to get 3 or 4 yards, a carry. But
to Jeff's point, I think that they had LeGarrette Blount, who's a guy that's kind of like a bruiser. I think you kind of need that in January when it's cold out. These defensive linebackers, they don't want to hit someone that's heavy and runs hard when it's cold. you don't really have that anymore. I think he kind of added that element where you could pound the ball, a lot, and you can win. I remember that game against the Colts at the Deflategate game. Blunt had almost 200 yards rushing. He was a monster.
He had a monster.
That's what you need in January. Belichick always adjusts as the season goes on. I think when it comes down to it, if you're in an AFC title game, if it happens to be in Pittsburgh, you're going to miss that big bruising back.
I don't think it even matters if it's in Pittsburgh. It's not like New England's a balmy 78 in freaking January.
You guys definitely make valid points, but let me ask you this. Would either one of you be shocked to learn that in the first round playoff game, Rex Burkhead runs for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns?
No, not at all. I would not be shocked.
Exactly. So I get what you're saying, but let's see how the
Belichick will figure it out.
Although, to be fair, honestly, none of it matters until that AFC title game. You know what I mean?
If they make it that far, yeah.
Come on.
Come on. Who are they going to play in the first round? Let's say they get the 2 seed. Who are they going to play?
Jacksonville?
They're not going to play in the first round because they're going to get a bye.
I'm saying the first game, I mean.
Jacksonville, who will punch them in the mouth defensively.
You're not going to well, listen, I realize that as I'm saying this, that you actually hosted a playoff game and lost to Mark Sanchez. So the concept of losing to Blake Bortles is really not that crazy of a
Thank you.
They're very similar teams, actually, to those Jets.
They kind of are. Honestly, there are a lot of similarities to those teams.
They pound the rock. Their quarterback is very, very inconsistent, and their defense is swarming.
So maybe what'll happen is they'll beat you and then lose to Pittsburgh in the AFC title game.
Yeah, recap with 2010.
They'll complete the parallels to the New York Jets.
Who cares?
Josh McCown broke his hand, boys. The miracle season.
Did you see what I added there on the bottom?
Yeah.
Then he began to cry. All right, first of all, Jeff, listen. I like Josh McCown, and I think he's a great guy, and he's played very. I think he's a good guy. I'm saying
okay.
He's played well. He has played well. If you look at his stats, he's top 15 in the league right now.
Okay. He's
been with the team for 6 months, and he's crying over not being able to play with them anymore. I don't understand. This is his 12th team. Now all of a sudden you're gonna start crying in a press conference? Come on.
Well, it's his 12th team, but it's the only time he's ever played well through half of a season. He's literally 38 years old, and this is the best he's ever played. It's the Jets just are a magnet for these never was freaking
has-beens.
And they're not even has-beens. Never really was. We're perpetual backups, and then they come and put up a monster. He's crying because he saw Ryan Fitzpatrick dollars next year. And it disappeared on him because he can't play the final 4 games of the year. I mean, that's what it is.
They'll still re-sign him, I think.
Why?
I mean, do you trust Hackenberg or Petty to be a backup?
No, I don't think either one of those guys is going to be on the roster next year. I mean, to your point,
Baker.
Maybe they sign McCown and he mentors whatever quarterback they're going to pick with their first pick, but they're definitely going quarterback.
You know what it is, Jeff? This is what's going to happen. They're going to draft Baker Mayfield, right? And to bring in a good motivator and someone that can console him, they're gonna sign Jay Cutler. Cutler is gonna teach Baker Mayfield how to just relax and just kind of smoke cigs and stay on the sideline and cash in.
Good. Hire Johnny Manziel as the quarterback's coach because he's interested in coaching.
Now we're talking dream team.
It's young dream team style, right?
That's the big 3.
I don't know, man, but I you know what I forgot to say it as you said it. You actually said, Brett, that Jay Cutler surprised me. The amount of times that phrase has to have been uttered throughout his career. Yeah. There's no way that you could possibly hit that number on the head, right? Every so often, it's
that does. Someone tweeted from the Ringer. This is one of those games that haunts people as Bears and Broncos fans because he's had these games multiple times and you just wow, this guy's arm is unbelievable. Look at all these throws he's making, and then he just shits the bed the next week and everyone just gets
Imagine how frustrating for Bears fans when they had a young Brandon Marshall streaking down the sideline and Jay Cutler and Cutler's
Alshon Jeffrey and Matt Forte,
right? And Cutler's on and he's just slinging the rock all day and you're we could be amazing. We could be a Super Bowl team. and then you realize.
My favorite graphic from last night was someone was saying, "Oh, the difference between Brady and Cutler is, Cutler's had so many offensive coordinators and coaches, and they listed everything, and Brady's had like maybe 3 coordinators and 1 coach, and then Cutler has all these offensive coordinators and coaches, and then John Gruden's like, yeah, well, when you stink, you're gonna get your coaches fired. Like, it's not rocket science."
No.
The sad reality is, and I know that I had to drink the Mad Dog this year just to prove it, is Jake, there's never been a quarterback more built to be a New York Jet than Jay Cutler. Like there really
might just be a year off.
Like there really isn't. Like he would be a 100% perfect fit to just be like this Jekyll and Hyde guy that one week he's lights out, and like all these dopey Jet fans are like, I don't know, man. Like I think he's super talented. We just got to clean up the stuff between his ears, and then he throws 6 picks. And they're
forget it if you guys go on like a 3-game winning streak with him.
Oh my God!
Then you'll start building the team around them and
put him in Canton. Like it would be ridiculous. It'd be ridiculous. I don't know. So McCown's done. I texted you. First of all, you're texting me at like midnight as if I'm watching any of this football game. Number 2 is if I stayed up to watch the entire football game.
I knew you were sleeping.
Right. So I contemplated texting you at 5 a.m.
I was pretty close. I was up.
But I avoided that. I gave you like an extra half an hour. I'm thankful. I'm thankful that you guys, squeaked out another win, because now with McCown going down, and we gotta ride the Bryce Petty train for the next couple weeks. It's one less team we have to leapfrog over to grab Baker Mayfield in the first round. So
no, they weren't going to get Mayfield anyway.
Why?
They have a million other holes in that team. They're not going to draft a quarterback in the first round.
The Dolphins, you mean? I thought.
Yeah. I'm saying the Dolphins were never a threat for Mayfield.
No, but if you have a division rival in front of you in the
okay, I see what you're saying. Maybe
I mean? Like they pull some Fugazi shit with another team to
they trade with like someone that needs a quarterback like Denver or something.
Yes, they can leapfrog their division rival and steal their guy. I mean that's Mike Tannenbaum. I could see him doing that.
oh yeah, pull no punches.
So Josh McCown, we barely knew you.
Who cares?
This one's for you guys. Who put this one on there?
Yeah, the Nets just traded for Jahlil Okafor, Nick Stauskas, and a second-round pick for Trevor Booker, who is a veteran on an expiring contract. I was kind of looking twice when I saw this trade, because I was like, wait, hold on. There's got to be a catch here. But the Sixers were just like unloading these 2 guys and a second-round pick for a forward who I thought was kind of respectable in Booker, but nothing special. So I was a little confused, but as a Net fan, I think it's a great trade, because the worst thing that can happen is, Okafor sucks and you just let him go and he's a free agent. But if he turns out to be a stud like I think he could be, you catch lightning in a bottle.
He hadn't been playing. I'll just say that. Like I
know.
When he came out of college, because obviously as a Duke fan, I watched him very closely in college, and there were things he did on the floor at Duke that like he had a handle that was like a small forward. Like he like there was one I forget who they were playing, but there was one game where he had the ball in the post and somebody was denying him position. So he dribbled out to the 3-point line, put the ball between his legs, behind his back, did a spin and had like a 5-foot jumper in the lane. And I'm like, who's doing that? Like what 7-footer looks as fluid doing that? And he's not a thin guy. Like you look at a guy like Porzingis and he's thin.
Right.
Okafor was not thin. He was thick. His legs were thick.
Absolutely.
So coming out of college, I thought this guy was going to be legitimate if he could stay healthy. And it hasn't been a health issue as to why he hasn't played. So I don't know if Philly was just a toxic environment for him. Has he played a game yet for the Nets?
No, he was contemplating playing tonight, but Coach Atkinson said he's going to hold him out another night. So I think the first game he play might be Thursday night. I think they play Thursday night.
What the hell's the rationale for that? Like
I don't know. I guess they just wanted him to get comfortable with the players and system before he put him in there. But I don't know. I feel like in basketball, just let him play.
You want to get a 7'2" guy comfortable in a system?
I want him out there.
Hey, the Nets play a very complex offense, Jeff.
Just give him the ball. Just give him the ball and let him go inside out. I mean, who else? Who are you playing in the spot?
But they're talking about how they have now the 2 and 3 picks from that 2015 draft with Okafor and D'Angelo Russell, who were kind of cast aside by their original team. So I mean,
Which is amazing, right? Because you have the 2 and 3 pick in a draft that you didn't have a first round pick. Is that accurate?
Right. So, but the thing is, the Nets, I give their, Sean Marks, their GM, and their own management a lot of credit for kind of inheriting this shithole of a mess that the Nets were. And with no draft picks, they've finessed their way to get some young players, and I think they're rebuilding the correct way.
He was a great hire. Like he wasn't a good hire. He was a great hire.
He's going to save them. He's going to save
he knew that right from the get-go.
Yeah. No, it was 100% the right move. It'll be interesting to see because I heard that your owner is selling. Did anything ever come of that? He was like selling like a minority stake to somebody, and then like within like 2 or 3 years, it was going to be a majority. Like he was going to sell.
Yeah, I heard rumors about that because apparently this guy spends a lot of time in his homeland, which is, I guess, Russia, right? So I think he wanted to sell a minority of the team to have someone kind of like overlook the, Brooklyn operations. I don't know if he's not committed or what, but it just sounds a little.
Putin needed him here to help sway the election.
Right.
And so now,
and then once that's over, he's kind of free to go back to Russia.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So now, he can sell his Fugazi business interests in Brooklyn.
Right. Whatever it takes, right, Putin?
Pleasure for me. I don't know how the Nets got this much time.
Who cares?
We're in a long. Who cares?
This is a great one. Mike Francesa.
He's ready to go on the fan. New York Sports Radio. Mike's on. He'll get you the sports any way that he can. It's Mike Francesa on the fan.
I'm number one.
Sports Radio 66 and 101.9 FM. WFAN.
From the Rolling Outside Studios, this is Mike's on, Francesa on, Bill Simmons, The Ringer. I'll do my picks. Number one. Okay. Let's take some calls. We got JP in Lincoln Park. What's up, JP?
I can give a shit that Mike Francesa is going off the air. I'm actually kind of happy he is because
You're clowns. Goodbye.
I honestly
hang up on him.
Honestly, I feel like he's mailed it in the last 2 or 3 years.
I said you're a clown.
Yeah.
Mute him.
You're done. Okay, you're done. All right, let's go to Nikki in Parsippany. What's up, man?
Hey, Mike. Snake of Parsippany, bro. Big fan. I wanted to get your take on Eli Manning. I think he got disrespected by the Giants, and I want him to play really bad. Even though he didn't play that well, you can't blame him, right, Mike? What do you think?
What do you want the guy to do? He gets benched by McAdoo. Manning, he's going to join us at 5:00, so we'll talk to him then. See what he has to say. Brett in Denville, what's up, Brett?
Hey, Mike, how you doing? Big fan. Been listening to you since you and Dog back in the day. Really, you've helped us through some, me and my buddies through some tremendous times. So, thank you, Mike. Thank you for all you do. I appreciate it.
Sounds good.
Mike, what is Sandy Alderson doing? Okay, the Mets won't spend a dime. You got Wade Davis out there. You got to re-sign Bruce. I don't get it, Mike. What's Alderson doing?
Well, what do you want to do? I mean, they're across town from the greatest franchise in sports. You can't compete. As far as Alderson goes, I like to think he's trying to work together with ownership. Ownership's got no money. They give everything to Madoff. We'll have to give a little conversation then later. So that's what we do. All right, let's go back to Parsippany. Nikki again. What's up, Nick?
Hey, Mike. First time call, long time listener.
Yeah, what's going on?
I just wanted to know, with Giancarlo Stanton, I heard you say that you didn't think that the Yankees would ever get him, and then the next day he signed. Well, how do you defend yourself?
But where's he going to play?
He can play right or DH. Or...
You can have a $33 million player DH every day. Every day we're gonna have DH. Great. And we can do with Judge, right? Huh? What are you gonna do with him? You gonna sit him down?
He's stepping out.
We got Jerry in Denville. Jerry, what's up there?
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Remember that time you fell asleep on air?
That's fake news. JP, back to you in Lincoln Park. Go, you're on the air. Come on, turn your radio off.
Mike, you think that? Yeah, I can't. I'm going.
Goodbye. Okay, goodbye. I don't have time for this. All right, I got 2 days left. You think I got time for you? You freaking giggling moron.
That was a solid bit.
Bring that stuff to the midday show, okay? And we'll do a little what ifs. You know, what if suddenly the Yankees brought back Manny Ramirez? You know, freaking morons. So I'll be doing my picks on Sundays. You can find me on the Ringer. Me and Bill Simmons, we're gonna cuddle for the next 6 weeks together, and maybe after that we'll see what we got going on. What do you think, Mike? We got Dave. We got Dave at the Capitol game checking in. What's up, Dave?
I'm here with a loyal listener,
Yeah, that's good.
Dr. Stephen Maschiola.
That's good. Steve, you're on with Frances and the fam. What's going on?
First time.
That's good.
Hey, Mike, I got to talk to you about the Giants, Mike.
Yeah, what about?
I don't understand. How is Eli Manning not starting again this week? Davis Webb?
Well, I mean, what do you want them to do? You know, they broke the streak.
What about Giancarlo? Well, what do we need? More Latin Americans on the Yankees?
What are we talking about here? We're talking about the Giants or the Yankees. I mean, you're all over the place. Goodbye. You're a clown. Goodbye. Not enough time for this. Shut up, stupid. Go away, you freaking boring, dullard stink.
Who cares?
That was the best bit we've ever done. Far and away.
By far.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And I know it's not like good to acknowledge those things on the air, but man, that was funny as that was...
Eli came back. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah. They're still bad.
And they still suck.
Yeah.
Wait,
They still can't score more than 10 points. They're scoring 10 points a week.
Yeah, but realistically, I only saw a little bit of it. They were like he was hitting guys in the hands, and they were just dropping balls. So it's not his fault. It's really not.
No, nobody's saying it's his fault. They stink though.
I'm just saying it makes no difference who the quarterback is.
No, I agree with that. I totally agree with that. Are they going to Webb this week? Did they say that? Or
No, they're not. Manning is starting.
No,
so they're not gonna see.
Dave in DC's talking about.
So they're not gonna see.
The hell is that?
We just went through a wind tunnel.
So they're not gonna play Webb at all.
No, he's not going to be active, they said.
So they literally just broke up the guy's streak just to be a dick.
Just to put Geno Smith in there.
Just to be a dick.
No, it wasn't for Geno Smith. Jeff's right. They did it just to be a dick. Like that is the only reason why that was done.
Mac a douche.
Just to be a dick.
I think it's Mara. Mara's the dick. Whatever. I can't talk about the Giants.
Who cares?
All right, here we go. The real news that happened. When did this break?
Saturday morning at 3:40 a.m.
I followed it. I was watching Dunkirk on Friday night. Great movie, by the way.
Good movie.
Okay.
And at about 11:15, Twitter started really firing up.
Right.
With looks like they have a deal in place.
Yeah.
And so I went to bed going, holy shit, when I wake up in the morning, the Yankees might have Giancarlo Stanton. And when I did, it looked like not much more had progressed, but it seems like the players were in place at that point, and then it was pretty much rolling. It was a done deal Saturday.
But you had some mixed feelings on, like you're not a.
I did, and I have gone through this now. I've digested this. So what did we say? So Saturday, so Sunday, so 3 days later, 72 hours.
Was it Friday or was it Saturday? You were not pleased.
I was not pleased Thursday, I think, when I sent you guys the rumors that they were talking.
No, Saturday morning you were pissed too.
Yeah, because
yeah. I was still mad. Saturday
because Nikki said something like this. I think this might actually happen, and then you were like, "Oh, okay."
Where's he gonna play?
I was not thrilled about it from a financial perspective, but now that I've dug into the finances further,
Cash let you look at the books is what happened.
It makes sense. No, I mean,
Right,
but just breaking down where they are in terms of tax dollars and how this is going to play out. Really, technically speaking, with the removal of Castro and the addition of Stanton, they only took on $11 million.
They apparently, when you look at it, I heard today that essentially the addition of Stanton was the equivalent of what they had Holiday for. Which, when you look at it, it's like Jesus.
Right. So
and they just dumped Chase Headley's like $12 million a year.
Yeah, they still have $27 million to spend right now, as it stands, which is a good amount of money. I mean, I think they make an offer to CeCe, and I think he comes back. I think that's a marriage that's just doesn't really need to break up at this point. And I know there's rumors going around that they're in the hunt for Garrett Cole, who I love out of Pittsburgh, or Michael Fulmer from Detroit, and I think that makes a lot of sense.
Or Patrick Corbin in Arizona, I saw.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I did not.
He's a younger guy, but the reason I bring him up is because he's a lefty. So if they don't get CeCe, the only lefty they might have would be Montgomery. I think it's important to have two lefties in the rotation.
I think is Fulmer a lefty?
No, he's a righty.
He's a righty? Okay. I love both of them, though. I love Cole and Fulmer. I'm big fans. So, I think they're in the market to spend a little money there. But if they're still comfortable underneath that tax threshold. And the opt-out, I think, is good in the contract because I hope he gives us 3 great years and then does opt out. Because that's a problem future Brett will have to be angry and upset about. Like,
I'm a big fan of future Brett.
So I'm okay with it from a financial perspective. I wanted to get out of the A-Rod era contracts, and this opt-out certainly does make that a possibility. But with the financial hit, it's not $25 million against the cap, for us really. With removing Castro this year, it's $11 million against the cap this year, and that's all I'm concerned about is getting under that luxury tax threshold this season. I don't care what they do with money in the future. So
Cashman said it's happening. It's a mandate. They're not.
I've heard it before, though. I heard the 189 mandate a couple years ago, and they blew right through it.
But they're what is it? They're $28 million after they moved Headley today.
Yeah,
they took his. I think his was what, $13 million that they
right, and they got rid of that.
And they're still, from what I understand, I mean, Ellsbury has a no trade, so he's being obstinate and that he's not going to waive it. But if they are able to move him, that's another $22 million they can get off. I mean, obviously nobody's going to take the entire thing, but let's say you pay half of it.
I would gladly eat half. Gladly.
I mean, even if you ate 3/4 of it and dropped another $7 million off your payroll, it still opens up a spot. I mean, I heard just as recently as 5 minutes before we went on the air that the Orioles are actively shopping Machado.
Well, not that they're actively shopping. I mean, I've heard that the Yankees are actively talking to Baltimore about Baltimore shopping.
I don't buy that.
Which I hope that doesn't. I'd rather get him next year at a free agent price.
Why?
I don't buy it. I don't buy it happening.
You don't buy that they would do it, or you don't buy that he's actually available?
I don't buy that they would do it.
I don't think it makes sense for them. I think maybe if they kind of stink midway through the season, they might trade him to a contender.
But here's the problem with that: the contenders know that they don't have to give up anything
at the deadline.
At the deadline,
well, I don't know. Hold on.
Position.
Yeah, but the same thing happened with Chapman when the Cubs, because he was a free agent, and the Yankees got the best prospect in baseball for him for half a season. I don't know. If someone's desperate for a third baseman, they're going to give whatever the hell they want because they think they can win a World Series.
Yeah, but there's a world of difference between being a dominant team and getting the best closer in baseball at the deadline versus being a dominant team and picking up a tremendous third baseman. I mean, they're different.
I guess, but I'm just saying, it could happen. I think that the Orioles want to see what they have with their roster currently built before they do anything like that.
I mean, go ahead, Jeff.
No, I was. I mean, I think that from the Orioles' perspective, it's a clear indication that they're not going to spend the money on him. So, if they're able to bring back, 2 or 3 blue chip prospects for the guy and allow them to grow in their system, I think it's a no-brainer for them. I mean, they're not going to. It's not like they're going to come out this year and contend in that division. It's not going to happen.
And they have so many holes. Their starting pitching is terrible.
Well, that was apparently the starting price was, 2
top pitching prospects,
super high pitching prospects. Which
their rotation's been shit for years.
Yeah, but that's the problem with signing him long term too, because if Baltimore commits that kind of money to what their contracts are what the Machados and Harpers are supposed to be, where the hell are they going to allocate the rest of their resources to build what? It's going to be another Stanton situation in Baltimore, and I think Baltimore sees that and they're just like, we don't want to do that.
Well, the thing about Stanton is, you're talking about his contract and how much money he's making and how you're kind of stuck with him, and if he doesn't opt out, the Orioles and teams like that give guys contracts that are huge for people like Chris Davis. Chris Davis got a huge deal, and he hits home runs, but he's also a terrible defender, and he doesn't hit for average. So, I mean, Stanton hits for average. He plays a good outfield, and he hits dingers. So, I think that much more of a complete package.
I was confused by your comparison of Chris Davis and Stanton.
I'm saying that teams overpay for these players all the time, and a guy like Chris Davis got a monster contract for something that I don't think he deserves because he's like a one-dimensional player.
Yeah, that was
all it takes is one team.
Not a good deal. But all it takes is one team, right?
No, I mean one team makes a terrible move, and that's what happens.
Yeah, domino effect.
Let me throw this midday on the fan hypothetical at you. Matt Harvey and Steven Matz for Machado. Do you do it if you're Baltimore?
I think I would like. Oh, this is gonna sound. I think I would like a little more upside from the Mets. Like if I was Baltimore, I don't think that's enough for Machado. You got 2 guys who you're giving me tons of injury history,
right?
And in one,
I totally agree.
And
but they're both.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say they're both major league proven pitchers that could be top.
Major league proven, yes, but I mean, take a look at Harvey's numbers. Everything about him right now is on the decline.
Oh yeah, no.
Any pitchers in the National League.
So I like Steven Matz. Maybe I would take a flyer on Matz, but you'd have to come out with me more than Harvey.
Yeah, throw a couple prospects in there. Then
Harvey's. God, it's amazing how quickly that happens, right? So Harvey's the weekend of that deal. That's crazy. Like 5-6 years ago, he's untouchable.
He's the Dark Knight. He's gonna save the Mets.
Untouchable 5 or 6 years ago.
It was that World Series game. Was that Game 5? That was his undoing.
God, it's crazy.
And they left him in too long, and he got shelled.
It's got to be horrible to be.
And his confidence went into the tubes.
Yep.
What tubes? You ever seen any tubes?
What tubes?
No tubes.
Hey, Joey, look at the fucking tubes.
Tubes.
R.I.P.
We ain't tube one. We are essentially.
But you know what it is, though? Mickey Callaway can really care for Matt Harvey, though. He can be his friend.
Yeah.
He can go out on dates with him, man dates, of course.
That's good.
He can maybe rub his thigh, give him a couple happy innings in the locker room. You never know.
It's awesome. Whatever.
I would need to see way more out of Matt Harvey if I was going to trade for him. That's all I'll say. There's a difference between, seeing more being like, give me a Cy Young season before I want you. I just need to see improvement from him, and he is on the opposite end of that.
Or how about just pitch through May?
Yeah.
Pitched through May
Yeah.
at like a little bit over 500 with an ERA under 4. How about
Yeah, show me location, show me velocity, let me see a strikeout rate, let me see a spin rate, and if those things are looking good, and your walks, you got to stop walking people. Then I'm sure. Let's go.
what? See, but to me, it just makes more sense to trade him if you're Baltimore, trade him anywhere other than in the division to the Yankees. Like why? Like
That's what I. Go ahead.
That's that I don't see happening. Like why would you ever do that?
When you said it before, I said I don't think they'd do it. When I said they, I mean I don't think Baltimore would do it. I don't think Baltimore would send Machado to New York.
I mean, you'd have to be given some package that was just leaps and bounds ahead of everything else that was being offered to you, where it was like there's no way I could say no to this. You know what I mean? Like, and I just don't see. I mean, Yankees have a lot of position player prospects, but maybe I'm missing it. But I don't see 2 minor league pitching prospects that are being talked about as slam dunks. Are there guys that I'm not paying attention to that are 2-3 years away that I don't know about, that either any of you know about?
I think Chance Adams is there. I think he is one of the guys that they're talked about, and I love him. I think he's good, but I don't think he's 2018 good yet. Right. I think he's 2019 like the rotation guy, which I would be so happy if that was true. I'm not saying ace. I'm just saying, front end starter. But he's being talked about. But I know Torres is still on. Gleyber Torres is still untouchable, and there's another untouchable prospect who's a pitcher. And then that's it. I think everybody else is fair game.
It'll be interesting. I mean, because look, you can't tell me that a week ago that any of us thought that the Stanton stuff was going to happen. We just didn't.
No.
A week ago, Ohtani was going to the Yankees, and Stanton was probably going to the Giants, Cardinals, or Dodgers.
The best part about it is that Ohtani basically was like, "Yeah, I'm not coming," and then I feel like Cashman like hulked out. He like turned green, grew, like broke his jacket. It was like, "I need the best player in baseball right now." I didn't get this Japanese Babe Ruth. All right, who's it? Give me Stanton now. Get Jeter on the phone.
I read an article, I think today on ESPN when I got home, that outlined a little bit of it. Yeah. And the story kind of went that Cashman kicked the tires at the GM meetings right after the season. He was pretty much like, "Hey, if you ever need me, call me."
If you need me, holla.
If you want to hit me with like a "you up" text some night, I'm around.
Yeah, but not too much, so you don't want to be desperate.
Big Papa Cat, look up, holla if you hear me.
And then then the Stanton stuff started to unfold, and it became very clear that Jeter handled this, by the way, so bad.
Oh yeah, horribly.
Yeah.
So bad.
Horribly.
Hits on this.
Yeah. As he should. I mean, he played this terribly. Love him as a baseball player, but not off to a hot start as an executive.
Well, we'll talk about that in a second. So finish your timeline, and then
So he put together 2 packages for Stanton to the Giants and the Cardinals.
These hot guys.
And then went back to Stanton and said, "If you don't accept these, you are going to be a Marlin for life." To which Stanton was like, "Hold on. I don't think you understand how business works. I have the leverage here."
Yeah.
No. Called Jeter's bluff, and then they were pretty much like, "Be up. Let's give him a text." And that was it. And it came together so fast after that because he was only going to go to the Dodgers or Giants after that.
Dodgers or Yankees.
Excuse me. Dodgers or Yankees. And that was it.
Yeah.
Options. So Jeter's out there the next day at the meetings going, "Don't be fooled. This was the best offer we were given." No, dude. That was the only offer, and you reached out.
Yeah.
So,
but to be fair, when a player who was given a no trade by a previous administration, right, exercises that no trade, the other offers are not offers. So like he's not lying in the sense that this was the best offer, because when you compare it to whatever LA was offering, which was like like they wanted them to take some insane contract back that would have made no sense because they would have been getting no monetary relief, which is what this entire deal was.
Right.
You know, in theory, it was the best deal that they were offered. Here's the issue that I have with the whole thing. And
I think that's
none
a
of us-
clever twist of words about best deal they were offered. I see your reasoning, but I think you're twisting the phrase a little.
Look, no. Obviously, the best deal that they wanted to do was either with San Francisco or St. Louis. But when you don't have control over your asset, that's
Right. So it wasn't a real offer.
Yeah.
Like if they turned around and went, well, we also offered the Cleveland Indians $1,
right.
and they said no. That's not a real. That's not an offer.
Right. You know, so I don't know. But my question to you is, you know, as the group, like, you know, you had mentioned, Brett, you know, you love him as a player, but as an owner, he's gotten off to a shitty start. The issue that I have with Jeter, the way that he did it, and it kind of surprised me, is he bought this team when, like July or August?
Right at the end. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So like I think it was before the postseason, I thought, or it was like right around as the postseason started. How when you become I mean, I know that it wasn't the majority of his money, but he became the face of the ownership group. When you're Derek Jeter and you're the face of the ownership group of the Miami Marlins, how is one of the first phone calls you make not to Giancarlo Stanton? Like, you were a contemporary of his. Like, you played against the guy.
Yeah, you know, he even said they interviewed him like pretty early, and they were like, you know, did you reach out to Stanton? And he was like, no, you know, if we need to talk, we'll talk. I was just like, and then one of the reporters was like, but if you were in this situation, wouldn't you want to be communicated with? And he kind of
that's what makes it clunky, right?
yeah, and he kind of skirted around that answer. He gave that reporter like a snarky reply, which this is all very un-Jeter. Like he's
So
yeah, but you have to understand that. Like, Jeter in New York built up a certain amount of like credibility. Jeter in Miami has done dick. So nobody.
Hold on. So from a personnel side, I think we can all agree that he really screwed the pooch on this. But from the business side of it, I mean, they took over a franchise that was $400 million in debt, and now it's half of that. So he did the right thing from a franchise point of view. From a personnel point of view, he did a really terrible job, and I'm wondering if that's going to affect him moving forward with the personnel on the roster and on the team.
I don't even think it's a personnel issue. It's an HR issue. It's a PR issue. Like it's not that he made the wrong move. I mean, he brought back a guy that was, you know, if he didn't get hurt this year, would have had like a banner year for his career. I mean, Castro's a very good second baseman. Now, he might not even stay on that roster. They may turn around and flip him.
No, they'll flip him, and it's looking like maybe the Mets are involved in that.
Right. So that's fine, but like, to sit here and say that he got a bag of balls for the guy is just not true. I mean, it wasn't anything to write home about, but from a personnel standpoint, he dumped, you know, $260 million from a payroll from a franchise that you said almost half a billion dollars in debt, and you got to build from the ground up. I mean, it amazes me that these Miami fans are sitting here going, "Oh, it's the same thing as it always is." Well, no, like the way that it always was that the owners that came in there spent money foolishly. You won a World Series, and then they sold it, and then the next guy had to come in and clean it up. Like that's what's happened. So Jeter just bought the team, and is going to strip it down and try to build it through the farm system. So, like, I know it's not easy for the Miami fans to look at it that way because they don't have any attachment to Jeter. But this is a guy that's done nothing but win his entire career. If you think he wanted to go into this situation and start trading off his best assets and not compete immediately,
he did though. He did go into that with that, I think.
No, I think so too, Brett. I think so too.
Time out. You're misunderstanding what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying if you think that that's what he wanted to do, I don't think you understand Derek Jeter. I think he looked at the situation and said, "This is the only way that we can do it." But I don't think he's going to sit there for the first 2 or 3 or 4 years as an owner and enjoy winning 30 to 40 games. Like that, like regardless of what the bottom line is, he is owning a team to win. He's not owning a team to make money.
I don't know. You know, that's what everyone says. And JP said right move from a franchise perspective. And I don't know if I'd buy. If I was a Miami fan, I don't know if I would buy that because
I don't think he would. Yeah, I agree.
Part of Stanton's point was we were 5th in the league in runs scored last year. All we need is some pitching. Let's go out, get some pitching. That Christian Yelich is amazing. Markel Ozuna is really good. They have some really good pieces down there. D. Gordon is a very good player offensively, and he brings a ton of speed and element to that game. They needed pitching.
Yeah.
And let's not forget Jose Fernandez died, which
that really hurt. I mean, to bring up the tragedy, as much of a tragedy as it was, if you take that out of it, it really hurt the franchise. It really
did. It hurt them a lot because if he was there, I don't think anything unfolds the way it does right now. And they all Stanton was saying was go get some pitching, and Jeter decided to step back, cry poverty, say no, which I think Major League Baseball is culpable in all this because they knew the finances of that group that was going to buy that team. And if they knew the finances were they can't afford to add any pieces to that and they're going to have to sell off their best player, they're going to have to sell off other pieces, and they approved it anyway,
yes,
that's bullshit.
Shame on them. I agree. Well, they approved it, in my opinion, to get Derek Jeter in. I mean,
right. But look at what they're doing to the fans of Miami.
Yeah, I get it.
Right. I think that's where the resentment comes from them.
The reports are they're looking for like a $200 million investment. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, they want more cash.
So there's one answer. Miami guy. They played next to each other for a decade.
A-Rod comes in.
There's one guy. He's the answer.
Owned by A-Rod Corp presents the Miami.
God.
You think? I mean, look, maybe he doesn't have the liquid, but between the contracts that he signed, he should have $200 million to dump into a team if he wanted to.
Can you imagine? You know how the NBA players are wearing little logos on their jerseys now? Can you imagine next season it just says like A-Rod Corp on like all the Marlins left shoulders?
I think there's a reason that him and Jeter don't get along, though. You're talking about Jeter he's kind of aloof, with the media, and A-Rod is very candid. It seems like since he's been on TV, I just think that they just would not get along at all.
Oh no, you misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm saying A-Rod comes in with $200 million and tells Jeter to get lost.
Look at me. I'm the captain now.
Yeah. He goes, listen, I took a back seat. I moved to third for you. You're done. Bye. See ya. I mean, I don't know, man. I was kind of surprised that A-Rod wasn't involved in any of that Miami stuff to begin with because it's legitimately his backyard. Like, can't you see he and J-Lo coming to the table? As an ownership.
They could probably buy half a baseball.
That's crazy.
The two of them join up with Jay-Z and Beyonce and literally just own Major League Baseball.
Well, Mark Anthony, her ex-husband, was a minority owner of the Dolphins at one point.
Everybody was a minority owner of the Dolphins at one point. They were giving out
Serena Williams.
They were giving out ownership stakes like it was those old WWF bars.
I mean, I don't. As an NFL owner, I don't see the problem with that.
It's true.
Owning a piece of the Packers is like a piece of my heart.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Do you actually have that, Brett?
Go Pack, go!
Yeah,
Wow.
He has the stock certificate and everything
I tweet. You check out. Well, it's now on turn 2. So I don't know.
You gotta find it. You gotta find it and post it on our Snapchat.
That's funny.
So we'll see. I mean, look. Bottom line is final reactions to Stanton. I'll give mine, then I'll throw it to you guys. How could you not be excited when you look at the numbers dollar wise that they're spending after all is said and done? What they've moved, they're still under that threshold, so the tax will reset and they'll be able to go out and spend money on maybe Harper, right? You got Brett Gardner that's getting older, so maybe that becomes a spot for Harper, and who knows what happens with a guy like Hicks. I mean, like I just you can't be down on a deal that gives you the NL MVP for a reasonable cost, and puts the lineup together where you legitimately are going to have some combination of Didi Gregorius, Aaron Judge, Gary Sanchez, Giancarlo Stanton, I mean, and that's not even factoring in a guy like Bird. I mean, it's scary. It's a scary lineup. If you're anybody in the AL East right now, you can't be happy. And I don't care what moron Red Sox are going around going, oh, you're going to build your team around slugging. Well, okay. It's one thing to build your team around slugging. It's another thing to build your team around this slugging. Like they're going to strike out a real lot, but they're also going to walk a ton and they're going to crush the ball. So
Sanchez gets on, job of getting on base. Like he'll take walks, and just to have a runner on with Stanton up for a full season is like, give it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the 2-3-4 there, I mean, what you could probably project as the 2-3-4 there is I mean, it's literally murderer's row. It's absolutely ridiculous, you know. And I mean, the only thing I know with Stanton contract is you know, like you brought up Harper, is like what that's gonna do with the possibility, because I'm sure that, you know, the Yankees are probably on the short list for Harper when he becomes a free agent. And, you know, at that point, are the Yankees trying to get under the luxury cap in order to go over the luxury cap, you know, when you know, that free agency group comes out?
Yeah, I think that's the entire reason.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, but and what are you going to do with all of these pieces? Where are you going to put them all on the field? You know, like Jeff joked during his little tribute.
How
are you going to put it? You know, are you going to alternate Judge and, you know?
Well, it's only a matter of time. Hold on, it's only a matter of time before one of those outfielders gets hurt. I don't know if it's Gardner or if it's Hicks or if it's someone's going to get hurt, and you're going to need someone to go in there.
Okay, I never said that. Okay.
Right, but do you alternate Judge and Stanton between DH and right field? I mean, how do you do that?
Yeah, why not?
And
that's exactly
justify those salaries.
You justify it because
they're going to hit 45 homers each.
Yeah, but Gardner's contract ends after this year,
right?
And I think Hicks is out too. It really only leaves Ellsbury at 2 years left at years 6 and 7, which
hopefully they get rid of him
really expiring, and Cashman can figure out a way.
Get rid of him by next week.
Yeah,
right. Cashman can figure out a way in a year's time to dump 2 years worth of Ellsbury. So really, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying the outfield of Judge in left, Harper in center, and Stanton in right could be a reality.
That is just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Look, I think it's ridiculous enough without Harper.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good point. Yeah.
What would you, Brett? Let's play. Last thing before we go on the last call. Let's play Aaron Boone here. They moved Headley today. You're filling out a lineup card, 1 through 9, positions included. What's your lineup as the roster is currently constituted? Assuming that, you know, they're obviously not done. They're going to make different moves, whatever. But
I guess we have Gardner leading off. I guess we have Judge batting second, Stanton third, Sanchez 4, Didi 5, Bird 6. Third baseman
Todd Frazier.
Yeah, Todd Frazier 7 probably. And then
Gregorius and Gleyber Torres.
I guess
Gregorius already.
No, yeah.
So you're left with
probably
you're left with second base and you're left
and DH or yeah, whatever. Hicks and I would probably go Hicks maybe bottom. I don't know, or 8, and then Torrey, probably Hicks 8 and Torreyes 9.
All right, so let's run through that one more time. You got Gardner, Judge, Stanton, Sanchez, Didi,
Bird, third baseman
right.
Todd Frazier,
right,
and then Hicks, Torreyes.
So you're turning the lineup around with Torreyes.
Probably,
assuming he wins the job. I mean, you know, you have
assuming he wins
or
the job.
Gleyber
right?
Torres.
Gleyber Torres will be there eventually this year. So even if he's healthy, it really pays the Yankees to just leave him in spring training for 2 weeks to keep his service time back a year. All you're missing is, 13 games or 12 games. And then you get an extra year of control of him at minimal cost. It makes sense. So yeah, I would assume that they're not going to break camp with Torres. So with Gleyber Torres. So Torres will probably take that job unless they go out and get someone.
So let's throw this little wrinkle in there, right? Let's just say somehow Machado finds his way to the Bronx to start the year.
Yeah. Okay. You want me to redo it?
I want you to redo it.
I just push
Frazier out.
Yeah, I just push everybody pretty much down when I go.
You put him in.
I would throw a lefty in there between all the righty hitters.
People are saying that they really are, but you should see the numbers that that Judge and Stanton hit right-handed pitching. They fucking crush it. So it's really I would just let him mash. I just let him eat. That's why I'd want him back to back. So I'd go Gardner,
belly to belly.
Stanton, Sanchez, Machado, Didi, Bird, second Torres or Hicks Torres.
Jesus Christ. I think there's one thing we're missing here that's really important, Brett, is that these guys can curl more than anyone else in the league. I mean, this is going to be the heaviest lifting team in the league.
That fucking Instagram.
Their glamour muscles are just popping.
I'm sure they're not on steroids at all. Whatever.
Hang on, bartender. Give me one more of those Scotch and Peptos. I got a case of spurts, but I still want to drink.
Last call.
All right, here we go. Last call. Boys, anything you want to discuss? Let's lead off with JP. Anything that we did not say that you want to get to?
Yeah, I want to get to Tom Savage's concussion and the absolute. I just can't believe that they let him go back out on the field. I mean, if you watch the replay, he looks like he was having a seizure on the field, and they took him off the field. They put him back in for a series, and then they bring him out. I mean, what exactly is this concussion protocol actually doing if they're going to let a guy who's having a seizure on the field back out there?
It's not good. I'll tell you that. It's definitely not good.
JP, they are very concerned about player health.
Oh, absolutely.
Not a laughing matter. They're very concerned.
Except if your backup is TJ Yates, which by somehow chance, you remember that Matt Moore hit that he took in the playoffs last year against Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
No.
The backup was TJ Yates, and TJ Yates went in for a play, and they're like, "Oh shit, Matt Moore, you better get back in there."
And not to make light of it, but this is Tom Savage we're talking about here too. I mean,
hey,
come on.
Former Rutgers quarterback.
Yeah, I know for 6 games.
Or
Airs.
No, but to your point, I think it's I've said it for weeks though, or for years. I think that the whole concussion protocol is a pile of junk anyway. The fact that they didn't pull him out of the issue is everybody in the country saw it except for the coaching staff. I don't understand how that happens. So especially the officials are supposed to have oversight and tell if something like that happens, say you have to be pulled off the field. So a lot of missed.
Yeah, I mean it was, and that gave me chills looking at that. And they said it was the independent investigator was the one, or the independent guy was the one who said, "Oh, he's gonna go."
Yeah, wow.
Which makes it even scarier.
You seriously might want to consider giving that license back. Niggy, what do you got?
I've been waiting all day to say this.
Who good?
The USA didn't qualify for the World Cup, right? The soccer team.
True.
And people are saying, "Oh, USA sucks at soccer." Well, we do. And you know why they suck? Because JP's stupid MLS team couldn't win the freaking cup against Toronto. So the MLS champion comes from fucking Canada. Yeah. And you wonder why the United States sucks at soccer. JP, your team sucks.
Well, it goes,
no
goes
rebuttal,
a little bit like
no
this.
Rebuttal. You lost to a Canadian.
Mute him.
No.
You lost to a Canadian.
Let me learn you something, Nikki. Okay. That Toronto team that they lost actually was statistically the best on the team in the history of MLS.
Who cares?
Bubby, what do you got? Please save me from professional.
It was also very bad. If you saw the highlights, that was very difficult for the Sounders. The Canadians flapping heads were so distracting.
Right.
So full.
Okay, I'm finished. So full of lies.
Can I finish?
Can I finish? Please.
Two things real quick. One,
Not it's not like my ass.
by the way, they come back this season, Terrence and Phillip in South Park, and they're old, and it's really funny.
Old. I saw it. Oh my god, it's hilarious.
All right, go ahead. What do you got? Close this out, please.
Two things tied into Rutgers and Tom Savage. Patriots look like they're closing in on a deal with Kenny Britt, which I
Belichick
think
loves Rutgers.
he does.
Dude,
He does.
And you want to talk about something crazy? He's going to go from the worst team in the league to the best, probably the best team in the league.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And a little interesting, I found interesting that just sucks because it's so unfortunate that Adam Vinatieri might miss out on $500,000 because he had to kick in that horrible snow this weekend in Buffalo. And he missed 2 kicks, and it dropped his percentage down to 88% on the season. And he has a bonus in his contract if he hits 90%. So he's got to go 5 for his next 5 on field goals in order over the next 3 games in order to get his percentage back up to 90. So kind of sucks because those conditions were.
I think he'll be fine financially.
Oh yeah, he'll be fine, but that's just a shitty break. Sorry, I don't know.
Nobody circles the wagons.
Like the Buffalo.
Buffalo Bills.
I saw that Devin Hester retired. In case you were curious, Devin Hester has not played this
In
year.
like what, 3 years?
No, he played last year.
He played last year.
Oh, he did. Okay.
I don't remember what team, but I remember seeing him and going, "Holy shit, that guy's still."
I think he was on Atlanta.
I think
He's
it might
incredible.
I think he was on Atlanta. I think he actually got some action in the Super Bowl. Not that he did anything.
Maybe that was it. Maybe I was like, "Holy shit!"
But I think he opens up an interesting conversation of, does a basically a full-time kick and punt returner get himself onto the Hall of Fame? It's going to be a tough sell, but he was probably
maybe on the ballot, but I don't know
if not the best to do it. He was definitely in the top 2 or 3 to do it.
Well, I would probably put
we don't have to
ahead of him.
Put who ahead of him?
Kowski.
The field goal kicker?
Kicker?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about freaking Devin Hester, the returner.
Oh, I thought you were
you're
talking
saying
about Vinatieri. I'm sorry, my bad.
No. I didn't know what the hell you were getting. You were getting that.
I just thought he was just like,
I was close.
I thought he was doing special teams. I didn't know.
I just thought he was. I thought he was just randomly ranking people above Hester.
Well, I would still put Sebastian Janikowski ahead of Hester.
Well, I think Sebastian Janikowski is a first ballot Hall of Famer, so I don't think you have to worry much there. The Knicks are going into overtime right now against the LA Lakers. Lonzo Ball stat line at the end of regulation: 15 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds in 34 minutes. So we'll see. Maybe LeVar will step into the bench there and take over at the end of the game because clearly Walton couldn't get it done in regulation. So I think they need probably to make a coaching change for overtime. Probably the way to go. Thanks for taking the time to listen, everybody. We appreciate it. Check us out on socials, Low Outside Sport. I don't think we have a Snapchat, so don't.
Incorrect. It's very lit.
So find us on Snapchat. It's very lit. Much love to the Pope, Mike Francesa, as he wraps up his time over there on New York Sports Radio. Rumor has it that well, it's not a rumor. I'll confirm it right now. We are in negotiations with Mike to have him make a weekly spot. He's not going to come on and host or anything like that, but we are in talks for having him come back on and share some insights from time to time. So we'll see if that does happen. Hopefully we'll have some more information that we can share with you in the new year as his non-compete clause disappears. So until next time, everybody.
Desperandum, dear lady. Across the desert lies the promised land. Goodbye, Mrs. Gloop. Adieu. Auf Wiedersehen. Gesundheit. Farewell.
Fare thee well to you, my own true love. River Mercy, fare thee well. I am bound for California, a place that I know right well.